We're here with junior offensive lineman Anton Wharby of the halftime of the Gardner-Webb game, and we're going to start with a little bit about your background. You're the only international player on the football team. You grew up in Sweden. Talk about your childhood in Sweden.
Well, I was born in Stockholm, lived there till I was 5. Then I moved down to the southeast to a small naval town called Karlskrona, where I spent the rest of my time until I came here.
Your dad was in the Navy.
Yes.
Is that something that you would be interested in doing?
I'm thinking about the military after Wofford, actually. Although I'm not, I don't have any plans, concrete plans at all for what I'm doing after anyway.
You mentioned your small town that you're from. You took an hour train ride to get to football practice. An hour and a half train ride both directions.
Yes.
How hard was that? Your little brother Olaf was doing that and quit football because of it.
He did, yeah. I mean, it was tough. I had a good friend that did it with, my best friend from back home. He was actually the one that asked me to come with him, because he did that for a season, and then after he'd been doing that for a year, he asked me to come with him. And so we spent a lot of time on that train going back and forth, but it was a good time. That's
who introduced you to football?
I actually played football before for the hometown team, but we didn't have 11 guys to put on the field. So my only option if I wanted to play a national football game was to take that train ride.
So you went to high school in Lexington, South Carolina.
That's right.
At Lexington High School. How did you find Lexington?
I'd played football for a couple of years. I was about to be a junior in high school, and I wanted to come over here and, see how good I really was, and get a chance to play high school football, which is a pretty big deal. So I just signed up to be a foreign exchange student, and the way it works is you write your little resume, put together a couple of pictures and stuff like that, and then the program finds a host family for you, and that can be just anywhere, just depending on which family picks you. So I ended up getting picked by a family in Lexington.
When did you start playing football?
The first time I practiced was right before, a couple of weeks before my 14th birthday. I was about to start 8th grade, I think, and a buddy of mine, another friend, had been playing for a year or two, I think, and he wanted me and a couple other friends, he convinced us to come to practice, and that was it.
What did you like about it?
I don't know. I mean, I just liked how, I still remember that first practice. I was all over the place. I was playing wide receiver, one drill, and then no score the next. It's kind of all over the place, but I enjoyed it, and I like the physicality of it and stuff like that.
And the rest is history.
Yes.
Here you are. So did you find Wofford, or did Wofford find you?
I mean, it goes a little bit both ways. Well, I was at Lexington. Furman came down. One of their coaches came down and talked to me. And then I went back home, and I had to go back home and graduate high school. I was a junior at Lexington. Went back to Sweden, finished up high school, and after that, I knew I wanted to come back and play college football. While I was at Lexington. So I put together a little highlight clip and just started emailing it out to probably about 100 different schools. And Wofford was one of the few that hit me back. So.
And you were in Sweden when you were doing all of this?
Yes.
And then you came to Wofford a semester early, the spring before your freshman year.
Yes.
How much did that contribute to how you immediately came in and made an impact?
It helped a lot. Just getting a chance to know everybody, know the ins and outs of Wofford a little bit. A lot of freshmen, it hits them at once, everything, when the fall semester starts, but I was already in tune with school and all that kind of stuff, so it helped a lot. And just knowing the players, knowing the coaches, and knowing the offense a good bit already. Right,
and you came in, you started every game, you competed in every game, you contributed.
I started the last 7 of my freshman year, and I played in the first 4.
Okay, so you had playing time, starting experience, and now you're a junior. You're a veteran on this team, a leader. How much has that shaped the player that you are now?
Getting the chance to play early was a lot of fun. Just having the feeling that you're contributing to your team, early in your career. I didn't come over here to sit in the sidelines. So.
Your first game of your college career in America, you go to Waco, Texas. You play Baylor, a high-powered offense in Baylor Stadium in front of 50,000 people. What was that like? Football in Texas is huge.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. The game itself is not my best memory because of how it went, but I don't know. I wish we could have done a little better, but it was fun, I guess.
You've had a bunch of personal accolades here, a whole slew of them, between all-conference, all-freshman team, best offensive lineman on the Wofford team. Which ones meant the most to you?
Well, that's a great question. Not really sure. Being an all-conference player, it's a pretty big deal here, I feel like, so I'd probably have to say that one. But That's a tough question.
We can come back to it later. Your first 2 seasons here, your freshman and sophomore year, they haven't been what Wofford's historically been over the last decade. You guys were 5-6 your freshman year, 6-5 last year. What's going to change this year to kind of turn that around?
I feel like every year people keep asking me, like, how are you guys going to be this year? And it's always a tough question to answer, I think, because there's so little that, you know, the difference between having a really good record and not so good record is very small sometimes. I mean, I can point out my freshman year and last year, like, if 5 different plays go our way instead of the opponent's way, you know, we could have a record could have been a lot different. I feel like big momentum shift in plays and stuff like that. So it's tough to say, but I feel like we have a pretty experienced squad. I mean, we were young in some spots, but only lost about 5 seniors from last year. So hopefully we have a little more experience and a lot of people know what it's like out there.
Right. Let's talk about this season. What are you most looking forward to?
Most looking forward to. I mean, I take it game by game, really. Just being consistent, performing every game. And, yeah, I don't have it. My family's coming over for Chattanooga, so that'll be a fun game.
Has your family been over here before? How often do they get to see you play?
They've been over here once. They came from VMI last year, and that's the only time they've seen me play in college.
Do they keep up with it online?
They do, yeah.
It's kind of hard with the time change, though. They can't watch any live games.
Well, they can. We're Sweden is 6 hours ahead, so if we play at 1:30, that's a 7:30 game back home. So that's not
so they
too
just
bad.
Gather around the computer and watch you play.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people play football in Sweden. I mean, what are some of the other big sports that your friends were playing growing up?
Soccer is the single biggest sport for sure. Ice hockey is pretty big. Ice hockey is kind of like football. I mean, you can't just. It's not a whole lot of pickup and stuff like that. But I mean, soccer you can just play on like a school break or whatever. So a lot of people play soccer, ice hockey. We have something called handball, which is a combination of like soccer, but I don't know how to explain. You play with your hands. Like you throw the ball instead of kicking it, and the goals are kind of similar as an indoor sport.
Okay.
It's a mix between soccer and basketball, I'd probably say.
So that spring that you came early before your freshman year, was that your first time at Wofford when you had already enrolled as a student? I took a visit and I had to commit because I got recruited in October, November in the fall of 2012. Mm-hmm. And I knew I wanted to start in the spring because I was back home, I was working, but I knew I wanted to come back as soon as possible. I didn't want to spend another spring just sitting around back home working, whatever. So I had to pick a school, and in order to get all my visa stuff done so I could start in the spring, I had to pick a school before I had time to visit. Okay, so what was your first impression of Wofford when you came here?
It was cool. Everybody's real friendly, you know. It was the big visit weekends, and everybody's treating you really good and being real nice, taking you around to places. It was really cool. I was in love with it after those. It was a real weird trip. Like I spent more time traveling than I actually did here. I just came for a weekend.
Right. All the way from Sweden.
Yes, but it was cool.
That was on your visit. So talk about your first week here. I mean, classes and football. What was that like?
It was a little different experience. I remember I wasn't cleared to start lifting and running with the team because of the physical. I had to get a sickle cell test and stuff like that in. So it took me about 2 weeks before I could actually start training, which was very frustrating because, you know, I came there, I wanted to show my stuff. But it was, once I could start, it was great.
Let's go back to that earlier question when I asked you which accolade has meant the most to you. What do you think, from the conference or from your team?
I really couldn't tell you. I mean, I really want to win a championship, and that would be the biggest thing for me here, you know, because you get that ring, you can carry it around. I mean, the individual stuff is nice, but I can't really pick out one that means more than another. Let's
talk about a little bit more about this season. A lot of experience returning, you said, a lot of starters returning on offense. Who are you most looking forward to playing with? I know TJ Chamberlain and you have had a lot of experience together on the offensive line.
Yeah, TJ is one of my best friends here, and we've really developed a chemistry playing next to him for 2 years now. So, yeah, that's a great, like, we speak the same language out there, and it's always a great time playing with TJ.
Leaders together on that offensive line. Let's talk about the quarterback situation also on that side of the ball. Your freshman year, they didn't name a starter. There's a lot of inconsistency there between Weimer, Jackson, Lawson. Last year, they went with Jax, he went down, you had Weimer. Are you hoping that this year there can be a little bit more consistency on that side of the ball?
I mean, all the guys we have can play. You know, whoever's in there, I mean, it doesn't really matter as long as we can move people in front of them. We'll have a good. I mean, it doesn't really matter who's carrying the football.
Let's talk about your plans after Wofford. You're a French major.
Yes.
What do you see yourself doing? Do you want to stay in the States or go back to Sweden?
That's a great question. I don't really know. I just recently picked up business econ as well. I'm doing a double major, so I mean, I really don't know. Like I told you earlier, thinking about joining the military right now. If you ask me again in a month, it might be something completely different. So. You
are junior. You still have 2 more years here, but looking back on your first 2 years, what's been the most memorable experience for you?
The most memorable experience. I mean, there are a couple of games that stand out. I remember the time when we beat Elon freshman year. We came back from 17 points down at halftime. It was my second career start, and you know it was looking pretty bad for a while, but we were able to turn around and pull it out. So it was that's one that really stands out. And then beating Sanford last year was pretty big on the road too, because it was a big win.
Do you have any special messages for anybody back home in Sweden?
Jag vill bara säga hej till mina föräldrar om ni kollar. Hoppas ni har det bra hemma och vi ses snart när ni kommer hit.
All right, that is great. Thanks so much for joining us for halftime in the Gardner Webb game, and thanks so much to Anton Wharby for joining us.
Thank you.